Welcome back, everybody. We're talking right now with City Councilor Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien, who's running for a 6th term on the Haverhill City Council. Welcome to the program, Mary Ellen.
Thank you, Frank. And I want to compliment you. I was saying before the show started, this has been a great forum over my many campaigns to, I think, highlight all the candidates and give the people an opportunity to make up their minds. And that's a plus in Haverhill.
Nice of you to say. We really appreciate that.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
I'd like to ask you this particular question, because if you're running for your 6th term, there's an interesting dynamic here, given the fact that the circumstances and the economy and society today are different from what they perhaps were in the first term that you happen to run. How are they different, and how are they the same? Are we because we're confronting perhaps different goals, different challenges today, but can you tell me how have you thought about that, how they're different? And
my first campaign was in 2001, and what changed everything during that campaign was 9/11. And so my first term, we were confronted with financial obstacles as a city, as a state, and really as a country. I didn't feel that we were the only community facing these, but I felt that Haverhill really took them head on and maybe made some very, very tough decisions in the beginning that other communities didn't face until 3, 4, 5 years down the line, and it was more shocking to them. But we really bit the bullet and made some very, very tough decisions, first with Mayor Gurin and then also with Jim Ferrantini. So, you know, that said, because we made those really tough decisions in the beginning and really pulled ourselves up by the bootstraps and held back on making some maybe easier financial decisions, I think we were able to progress in a way, get the Haverhill High School renovated. We really hung in there to get that parking garage started, and it's almost completed downtown. We made, as opportunities were made available to us by the state of Massachusetts, we changed the zoning in downtown to make it so that we could renovate a lot of those older buildings, and that continues even now that we're seeing that kind of development. Every time there's been something available to a community like ours, we have taken advantage of it. So whether it's what our police chief has done, what the fire department has done, what the mayor and his office have done, what the school department has done. And I think of things like creating Classical Academy and things like that. These have all been really positive things. So in a sense, the challenge of monitoring how we use our money is still there, because we still want to be making those really good decisions and not regretting not taking advantage of things or not making cuts that are appropriate. There are some things we can do now. We don't need as many people because of technology, but you have to have the right technology. Right now they're experimenting with giving us our agenda electronically and all the information that we get with our agenda. That is rather challenging because there's no electronic device to receive it. We're getting it on our personal computers, which means we're doing the same thing that City Hall's doing. We're just printing it out. My PC cannot come to City Hall with me. So these are innovative things, but even though you're going forward, there's a cost to it, and you have to weigh what that cost is. So I think we're a very pragmatic group, all in all.
Fair enough. If you were to take a look at your tenure as a city councilor for 5 terms, going for your 6th, are there any things that you see that the council should revisit or reconsider now, perhaps in this economic time period, that was not considered in previous years?
You know, I can't think of one issue, but what I like about the council is when something does come back and people say, let's look at this differently. We do. There's nothing that we do as far as an ordinance or a zoning that cannot be revisited as the city grows and changes. I think what's a challenge right now is we're faced with the parking plan, and we've made some decisions and we want to move forward We think it's a plus for the city. The money generated through the parking plan will only be used downtown because the way you set up a parking system. That's a phenomenal thing. Just look at what they're doing on Washington Street now with the money that we got from the state. I think we're going to be able to continue doing those kinds of things and re-energize downtown. It's a great historical place. We'll probably end up with more restaurants, more destinations, and I think it's just going to be a go, win-win for Haverhill. Does that mean the parking plan that we have started is going to stay the same? I imagine within a year we will probably have made 2 or 3 changes because we don't know how it's going to go. So I think the wonderful thing about being part of a city council and working with the mayor or working with the school department or working with the department heads is it's not forever. If things don't work, we can change it. And that's a plus. I think it's a plus.
So you're talking about the capability of evolving and adaptability to what the circumstances are.
Absolutely. As I said, you know, we'll never bring back as many employees as we had when I started, which was the 2002 term. We had devastating layoffs for the next 3 years. But we have so much more technology, and we do things differently. We are working smarter. And I think that's the difference. That's the difference.
When you take a look at the circumstances that are confronting the city of Haverhill now with federal mandates coming in for being able to increase the size of the flood wall for the Merrimack River, which is going to be several $1 million, capping the landfill, which is going to be several $1 million.
Stormwater drainage.
Stormwater drainage, several $1 million. You're part of the body in the city council that approves the budget. Where is this money going to come from? Well,
I think there's reasons why the federal government comes up with these mandates, and I respect that because they're trying to make this world a better place, and the United States has a lot of answers, or I think they are answerable for a certain amount of pollution, and that affects the whole world. However, if you're going to mandate something, then you must give us a way of funding it. We have to have a process of funding. So that's where my argument comes with them. It's one thing to mandate it. It's another thing to put it on the backs of communities that, again, were not only devastated after 9/11, but then again in 2008 when we had another financial crisis. So, you know, they helped out big business and banks because they didn't want our economic base to falter because it's such an important base in the world. But you've got to give us the same consideration, the communities, the towns, the cities. It's not that we're opposed to doing those things. We know those are good things to do, but you have to give us a way to fund it.
Do you think the parallel is, and this is not a criticism, but do you think the parallel is that in previous years there was a slogan that came up which was in a program educationally from the national scope of No Child Left Behind. And it was a great slogan, it was a great intent. But if you don't back that up with with the resource in order to make that happen, then all it is a slogan. And do you think there's that sort of a parallel that happens to fit what you're talking about?
In some ways, yes, I think you're right. In some ways, I think it is the same. The expectation from the federal government was for the state government to pick up the ball, and I think some states have done a little bit better job than others. I'm not totally unhappy with how Massachusetts has handled it, but there are some things they could do better. There's always room for improvement, especially when we're talking about education, all the way through to the college level. Such an important piece. But, you know, I don't know what the federal government can do and how they can do it, because it looks like a myriad to me. I can only understand local government. I don't get the federal government when you get beyond a certain point. It just seems like a maze. So I wouldn't even know how to direct them as to what the right thing to do is.
Well, you're probably in the right place as a present city councilor, given the fact
I think I am. I love local government.
Tip O'Neill said all politics is local. You can't get more local than what you happen to have.
I think being local keeps your feet to the fire. The people that elect you see you at Market Basket, CVS, church, school,
That's what they
work.
call instant accountability.
It is instant accountability, and I totally buy into it. I think it's great. People can ask me questions on aisle 6 at Market Basket or when I'm standing in the deli line, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions they have.
And that'll have to be the last word. Mary Ellen Daly O'Brien, running for re-election for your 6th term. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Frank.
Thanks. We'll be back in just a moment with more.
Thank you.